Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing,
And I'm Chloe Stebbing.
and we are the weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on stevestebbing.ca. And last week, we were off last week. I ran the little interview I did with Michael Angarano and Michael Cera for their new film, Sacramento. And I thought I had 10 minutes. I had 4 minutes, and I tried to cram in as much as I could. I hope people enjoyed that one. I was definitely at first starstruck to be looking at two actors I've watched in film and television for a long time.
For sure.
So it was a bit weird, but I hope I got a little bit out of them that I wanted to, besides talking about my own day job. That was not ideal. But anyway, taking a week off from the show means that there's so much just piled up in the week that we've been off. I saw a lot of movies, a lot of theatrical run movies. So it's a plethora of different stuff. But let's just get it all kicked off right now. That's right. Fresh for your eyeballs this week. I was juggling around which should be the lead off film, and I feel like out of the ones that I brought this week, there's no bigger film than this right now. This is Ryan Coogler's latest. This is Sinners.
Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Starring Michael B. Jordan, Hailee Steinfeld, Miles Caton, Jack O'Connell, Wunmi Mosaku, Jamie Lawson, Omar Miller, Buddy Guy, and Delroy Lindo, written and directed by Ryan Coogler. Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy. He's actually like a blues guy. Like he's like a blues singer that kind of just appears in a post-credit scene. This movie has actually two post-credit sequences, which is kind of surprising. The first post-credit sequence is actually very pivotal to the plot and kind of makes you lead to believe that there could be more, that they could make a sequel out of this one. Though standalone, I feel like the feast of this film is given. It is sweaty blues gothic nightmare of a story. It is the actual, like, the title of this movie is very fitting in the fact that a lot of these characters have things to atone for, and this movie might be Ryan Coogler's best film. Coogler's known for doing Fruitvale Station, both Black Panther movies, and Creed with Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone. And they're all like, he hasn't made a bad film yet, and I really, really enjoy his vision in making a film. And the soundtrack to this film is such a driving force. It's done by Academy Award winner Ludwig Göransson, who did Oppenheimer recently, and it has like a modern throb to it with this like down south blues tinge that I really, really, really liked a lot. And like this film is like about black strife, about trying to rise up from, like, basically trying to carve a story for themselves against the backdrop of an enemy, the Ku Klux Klan, that says, "Oh, we're not in this part of the country anymore. Like, we're all gone," and stuff like that. It's just kind of like bubbling under the surface. And Ryan Coogler takes a lot of big swings with this film narratively that I don't think that don't cross over into the mainstream, that I think really they all land. I'm wondering what the general reaction to some of them are going to be without getting into spoiler territory. But there's an acknowledgement of where black music goes from this time period, that it's acknowledged in the film, that might be overstepping for some people. And I know it bothers some viewers when they kind of get a little too meta. But I think it's a really interesting sequence. The cast is incredible. The actress that won me, I forgot what her last name is. She is not only like a great actress, she is just absolutely gorgeous. Every moment she's on screen, she's just an incredible. Won me Mazako. She's just an incredible actress. I really like Michael B. Jordan. He plays two roles. He plays twins in this one, which is a lot of fun. Jack O'Connell, a former Skins alumni, really great as the villain in this one. Miles Caton, this is his debut feature film, and he really holds his own in this film against a cast of really great actors, including Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, who is just an absolute joy every time he's on screen. I love Delroy Lindo, I always have. And I think Sinners is one of the best films so far this year. I think when we get to the end of 2025, people will still be talking about the film. And it's kind of, I feel like it has like a satisfyingly rewatch value to it, like a Lost Boys or a film that I feel it's very compared to, called From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a movie that was an influence on Coogler when he made this one. He said this film and The Faculty were both kind of influences on this film, which were both directed by Robert Rodriguez. So I think that's kind of interesting. Also, fun fact is Christopher Nolan and his producing partner and wife, Emma Thomas, assisted Ryan Coogler in the shooting of this film with the 65 millimeter aspect. So I did notice that Christopher Nolan's name is mentioned in the thanks part of the credits. And yeah, Sinners is a really great movie, and I think it needs to be seen on the big screen to be fully appreciated. All right, next up, we're gonna go not as sophisticated with our thriller, but still a cool concept. This movie is called Drop.
A widowed mother's first date in years takes a terrifying turn when she's bombarded with anonymous threatening messages on her phone during their upscale dinner, leaving her questioning if her charming date is behind the harassment. Starring Meghann Fahy, Brandon Sklenar, Violet Bean, and Jeffrey Self. Directed by Christopher Landon. I saw the trailer for this a few times, and
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see this, but one part of the trailer that makes me laugh every time is when it's like getting like super serious and like scary and like thrillery, and then there's like a phone notification and it's just the purple devil emoji. It's just hilarious. Like I don't know, it's funny as hell.
Yeah, which is like the emoji of the person that's making all these drops to her phone. And the concept is cool. And the real timeness of it, I definitely appreciate. I always love a real time story. And there's actually two that I'm bringing this week. This is the first one, and I really like Christopher Landon. Freaky is such a damn fun movie. So is the second Happy Death Day film. I really like that movie a lot. Not a huge fan of the first film, but the second one's really great. And I've always appreciated the originality that Christopher Landon brings to his films. And Drop does definitely have that, especially in its look and execution. But I really kind of wish that Christopher Landon had written this movie, because the whole point in getting to the real thrills of this film, and I would also say the final like 5 minutes of the movie, felt so cheesy and underwritten and cliched, and I like eye rolling. Like I just really like felt like, huh, like I was sighing a lot during that part. But Brendan Sklenar is really great. I think he has a good future ahead of him. He reminds me of like a cross between Glenn Powell and Chris Evans. Like he's kind of like the middle ground, and I think that's a really good sweet spot to be kind of like the internet's boyfriend, like
Yeah.
adjacent. Like you're kind of a mix. So I think he's pretty solid in it. And the lead actress, Meghann Fahy, she's solid as well. I think he is a bit better. But I think the thing about Christopher Landon is he always elevates his female stars. I mean, Catherine Newton in Freaky got a push. Jessica Roth in the Happy Death Day movies gets a little push. And I think Meghann Fahy is kind of falls into that category as well. And Jeffrey Self as their waiter is some really great comedic elements that I think is great, because he's like an improv guy that this is his day job, that he's a waiter. So I think that was kind of funny, because at the end of the day, in execution and everything, especially with the good stuff, the meat and potatoes of this movie, Christopher Landon rules. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows how to get thrills out of the audience, and he knows how to make an entertaining film. No matter if any of the reveals maybe let you down a slight bit, and maybe the main reveal lets me down a little bit, but he still makes it all fun. And I also think that that's due to his work with Mark Spicer, who shot this film. Mark Spicer did Escape Room. He also did the sequel, Tournament of Champions, which I enjoyed less. He did Lights Out.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he did Furious 7. Furious 7's actually his feature debut. And in that one, they were learning new camera rigs, like the roll rig, to make certain shots in the action sequences. So he's been part of some innovation with James Wan before, which is pretty cool. With James Wan would have been that one, which is pretty cool. He also previously worked with Christopher Landon on a Netflix like family ghost story with David Harbour called We Have a Ghost. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
No.
It was like a more of a family, like Amblin Entertainment type of film, but with David Harbour as a ghost. Pretty solid. But I think you can see where the pedigree of the writing comes from. The part of the issue I have with this one, because it was written by two writers, Gillian Jacobs, who wrote Fantasy Island and Truth or Dare, with the other film's writer, Chris Roach. So those are two films that I definitely did not enjoy. Chris Roach also wrote Nonstop for Liam Neeson, also kind of like a throwaway action film. And he's also a former WWE writer.
Okay.
Be that as it will, right? Whatever. But like I said, the centerpiece of this movie is solid. If you're going for the things that you see in the trailer, you'll enjoy this film. Does it need to be seen on the big screen? Probably not. Will it get more of an audience on Netflix or whatever streaming service that it eventually goes to? Probably. But I don't feel like it's a big theater movie, especially when there's other better movies in theaters like Sinners. I think that one deserves more of the time. All right, let's move on to some espionage and revenge and Rami Malek. This is The Amateur.
When his supervisors at the CIA refuse to take action after his wife is killed in a London terrorist attack, a decoder takes matters into his own hands. Starring Rami Malek, Rachel Brosnahan, Catriona Balfe, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Lawrence Fishburne. Directed by James Hawes, based on the novel by Robert Little.
So the low bar probably came through for me on this movie, because I think we've talked about this one before, saying that this trailer just really doesn't add up to enough. It just doesn't
Yeah.
feel interesting. It feels like been there, done that. It feels like a government conspiracy revenge thriller, which is honestly exactly what it is to the core. But I think one thing that helps this movie out is the things that I generally don't really like about Rami Malek actually help his character in this film. That slight, that nerdy over autism, you know what I mean? Like there's some, like, it feels like an overacting of it.
Mhm.
I mean, because I obviously have experience with dealing with people with autism, right? So it's like it feels like an overabundance of it, or a lean into it. But I think some of these qualities actually work for this film. And I don't know. I honestly found myself enjoying this film a lot more than I thought I would. It's kind of one of those Bourne style globe-trotting thrillers with a few cool action set pieces and stuff, but like a cast that really works. I like that Holt McCallany is in this one, playing his tried, tested, and true CIA guy that he's kind of always tailor made to play. Julianne Nicholson's in this one. A name that doesn't get mentioned in any of the cast credits, who's at the beginning and end of this film, is John Bernthal is in this movie as a CIA operative that I believe is only known as the Bear in the movie, which I think is
Okay.
really kind of funny because he plays
Yeah.
Michael in The Bear. But he is like, Rami Malek's character saved his life a few times with information, right? So he feels slightly indebted to his character. And then the director of this film, James Hawes, really didn't know this guy's name, but I have seen one of his films. He did a movie called One Life with Anthony Hopkins, which is a beautiful film that got absolute fountain of tears for me at the end of it. So he's definitely an accomplished filmmaker in manipulating emotions for sure. But he also has done episodes of Slow Horses, Black Mirror, and Snowpiercer, as well as one episode of The Mist.
Oh.
Yeah. So James Hawes did one episode of The Mist. So there's your connection there.
All right.
The film was shot by Martin Rue, who usually works with Anton Corbijn. He did Control and the American for him, but also did some underrated films, in my opinion, like Liam Neeson's Run All Night and Michael Caine's Harry Brown, which I actually picked up on Blu-ray pretty recently. Fun fact, he also shot the music video for Lou Bega's Mambo Number 5. So now that's in everybody's head, right? Some good old Mambo Number 5. The film was actually adapted from the novel, like you said, by Robert Littell, but he actually originally wrote the screenplay for a movie in 1981 that he then adapted into a novel. The film in 1981 starred deer hunter John Savage and the late great Canadian Christopher Plummer. But such a weird journey for this film to go from 1981 and then 44 years later and finally get made again. I was originally going to get made in 2006 by Hugh Jackman, who basically helped buy the rights, but it just eventually got shelved because it was a hell of a busy year for Hugh Jackman in 2006, because he did X-Men Last Stand, Scoop for Woody Allen. He did The Fountain, one of my favorite films of all time. It's in my 4 films for Letterboxd. The Prestige, Flushed Away, and Happy Feet. He was really busy in 2006, so I don't think he would have been able to fit another action film in there, but I don't know. The man's a workhorse, so who knows? But this adaptation was done by Ken Nolan, who did Black Hawk Down and Only the Brave, and Gary Spinelli, who did American Made. So all very, very solid movies. So the writing pedigree was there, and it actually turned out pretty well. So I was surprised that I enjoyed The Amateur. So here we are.
Semi-related because it's Rami Malek, but I will never understand why he wasn't cast in Until Dawn, considering he's in the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's really
he's
funny.
he's the psycho in the game.
That's insane.
So it's just funny that they just didn't cast him
They just
for the
glazed that
movie.
over.
Yeah, just whatever. We don't need him.
Maybe he's a cameo. I'll know next
Maybe.
week, but maybe he's a
Yeah.
cameo. Who knows? So that's good to know, especially heading into my screening this week. All right, next up, I'm just flying with these movies right now. This might be the greatest and most definitive experiences of armed combat I've ever seen. And aptly named, this is Warfare.
A platoon of Navy SEALs embark on a dangerous mission in Ramadi, Iraq, with the chaos and brotherhood of war retold through their memories of the event. Starring DeFaro Wunatai, Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis, Kit Connor, Finn Bennett, Joseph Quinn, Charles Melton, Noah Centineo, and Michael Gandolfini. Written and directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland.
So this is, I'm guessing, the sister film to Civil War, which was released last year. This was a film that was conceived kind of during that collaboration, because Ray Mendoza was the technical advisor for Civil War. So Mendoza also has a book about his experience in Iraq in 2006. And notably this massively bloody battle that happened. And so pieced together with other members of this platoon, they've created this film Warfare. And this, like I said at the top, this is, I don't know how you do better embedding the viewer in a combat experience like this. There's not, I mean, when they go outside, that's when you go outside, besides kind of drone footage or just like outside shot. Like there's really not a lot in the street unless your characters are there, your military characters are there. It is an unforgettable cinematic masterpiece that I honestly, and even now I'm still thinking about this film. Like it is just so well put together. It also feels like the Platoon of the modern age, how in the mid 80s in Platoon you just had like almost your who's who of great young actors.
Right.
This film, like you went through that cast list, there's just like every hot young actor
Yeah.
working right now, and every future Oscar winner is sitting in this cast right now, even starting with Wu Natai playing basically he's Ray Mendoza in this film. He's Dozer. So from him to go from a great series like Reservation Dogs to a really, really incredible war film like Warfare, which I know it gets hyperbolic the amount of times I say it. This is my favorite film of the year right now. It just kind of muscled its way in there. And this one is also like Drop. This one's told in real time. There's kind of like an opening scene where everybody's getting hyped up, but from the title card on, it's exactly the amount of time that this whole conflict lasted.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the trailer for this one as well, and I was immediately like, yeah, like I'm definitely into this one. Platoon is more or less before
Oh,
my time,
absolutely. Yeah.
so it more reminded me of Saving Private Ryan with
Sure.
like the memorable cast and all that. And like I do have a thing for war movies, so seeing Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, like
Mm-hmm.
in this, I'm like, yeah, like I'm definitely in for it.
And this is in theaters. See, like this is like embedded in the theater, because you brought up Saving Private Ryan. You know the opening scene, the D-Day beach scene. That and Bill from my other podcast made this point, is like that's the feeling of the entire film. That feeling you have for that D-Day sequence. It's like that's the intensity. Like I think I sat forward with my elbows on my knees for the majority of this film, because it is that tense. The tension is just always amplified, and you're feeling like you're almost on the same adrenaline these guys are. Like it's some really, really intense stuff. And it's kind of funny the fact that Alex Garland in the promotion of Civil War last year said that he was pretty much done making films. And then like a year later we get Warfare, which is just like ups the intensity for him. And it just I think it's just so cool. And the debut of their cinematographer, David J. Thompson, who has worked a lot with Alex Garland in the past, gets his first credit with this one, and it's just incredibly shot, so well done. And like I said, it just puts you on the back of every member of this squad, and with the jargon, with everything just playing to a realistic tone. And apparently, after filming this, Poulter, Quinn, Charles Melton, Wunatai, Cosmo Jarvis, and Kit Connor all got matching tattoos that say "Call on Me," which is the reference to the very opening scene in the movie. Because
Sick.
they're all watching the Eric Pride's video for "Call on Me,"
Okay.
and yeah, getting hyped. But solid stuff. And Ray Mendoza actually made this film as a love letter to his squad member Elliot Miller, who's played by Cosmo Jarvis in this film. And because after the events of the Ramadi operation, Elliot Miller didn't remember what happened to him. So Mendoza wanted to make this film as like, this is what happened. So very, very interesting stuff. Warfare. The fact that it's not getting talked about in a broader stroke is a little upsetting, because I think it's just a damn good film. All right, let's move on to really just a plethora of great performances in a pretty solid film. It's a drama. This one is On Swift Horses.
Muriel and her husband Lee are about to begin a bright new life, which is upended by the arrival of Lee's brother. Muriel embarks on a secret life, gambling on racehorses and discovering a love she never thought possible. Starring Daisy Edgar Jones, Jacob Elordi, Will Poulter, Diego Calva, and Sasha Calley. Directed by Daniel Minahan, based on the book by Shannon Poofahal.
So this is, I guess we should just call it the Will Poulter cast this week, because the second film that Will Poulter appears in. I mean, if you're a damn good actor, you get roles. It's just like and roles are going to overlap. Like I said earlier, in 2006, Hugh Jackman had like 6 to 8 films. Like, it's just sometimes your projects pile up. So it was just a lucky coincidence that I got 2 Will Poulter performances. Both films are better than the last time we brought him to the show, Death of a Unicorn. Not that he was bad in that film,
No,
but
it was just a subpar film in general.
Exactly. But the whole cast is hot in this film. Daisy Edgar Jones is really great, coming off of Twisters last year. Jacob Elordi, talk about him more in a sec, but he is like the sought after actor right now. A tall man. Have you seen how tall this guy is? He's a tall dude.
I'm aware of him because of Kissing Booth. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Have you? I saw a picture of it when I was getting pictures for the podcast. I saw a picture of him with a beard, and I'm like, whoa, what a very odd. You never think of odd choices for facial hair on people, but with Jacob Elordi, I just always picture him clean shaven. Like,
because he's very like baby
angular.
face.
He's super angular too.
Yeah.
But Diego Calva is an actor I really like. He did the Damien Chazelle film Babylon, which is a film that gets unfairly shit on, in my opinion. I think that movie is damn near a masterpiece that just did not get understood. And Sasha Calley, I really like. She was Supergirl in The Flash.
Okay.
Which
with Ezra Miller?
Yeah, she was better than that film is completely. But the film is well acted, and all of them give really, really great performances. But back to Jacob Elordi, the first real thing, because I didn't watch Kissing Booth, obviously. I wasn't really caught up in Euphoria. Still am not. But I watched him in Priscilla. He played Elvis in Priscilla, and I wasn't really big on him in that film. I feel like Hailee Steinfeld really kind of steals that film. But then Saltburn came out, and I was like, okay, he's pretty damn good in Saltburn. And now this film, this is honestly, I think this is his and Daisy's film. Everyone else is kind of secondary, but the story is mostly about her character Muriel and his character Julius. Yeah, yeah, right. I know. At the head of it, that's who it's about. Daniel Minahan, the guy that directed this, he's only done one other movie, and it was the movie for a TV series. He did the Deadwood movie, because largely he's a TV guy. He did episodes of Deadwood. He did Game of Thrones. He did True Blood. He did 6 Feet Under, like largely a TV guy. So this is him striking out to do a movie, and he does a pretty solid job. The film was shot by Luc Montpellier, who is largely known in the Canadian film circuit because he's worked with Sarah Polley twice. He did Women Talking, which is a phenomenal and very, very, very important film. And also did Take This Waltz, which is a really, really great film. But I did a film for Guy Madden called The Saddest Music in the World, like decades ago, which is a very celebrated Canadian film. You know Guy Madden because we saw Rumors at the film festival last year. But and the writer of this one, Bryce Cass, who adapted the book, he wrote Lizzie, which was the Lizzie Borden movie with Chloe Stebbing and Kristen Stewart, I think is in that. And they turned it into like a kind of a lesbian drama. as far as I
Yeah,
remember.
I don't know what was going on with that.
Did you see Lizzie? I don't know if I did.
I can't even remember. I'm aware of it, and I'm aware of the social perception surrounding it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I can't recall it.
The character of Muriel, the lead character in this one, was inspired by Rachel Pufal's grandmother, her own grandmother, and experiences of the world of gambling in the 1950s. But it's really funny, and I don't know whose fault this is, whether it's the original distributor, but the first promotional still of this film made it look like that this was going to be a romance film between Daisy Edgar Jones' character and Jacob Elordi's character.
That's what I got from the trailer, yeah.
That's not it at all. This is actually a very queer story because Julius is a gay man. His relationship is with Diego Calva's character.
Okay.
Like that's like one of the main love stories. And then Daisy Edgar Jones kind of has through that has like a sexual awakening and falls for Sacha Callie's character. So this is a queer story, and they did not market it as such. And I don't understand why in 2025 we have that fear of that. Or is this kowtowing to broader North American release, i.e., mega standards, that they wouldn't push it? Because you're misleading a large part of the audience, especially if they're going in for a heterosexual love story and it's a queer love story.
Yeah.
Like, you're creating controversy at this point, and in the wrong areas, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, previously, generating controversy around a film or a show was a good thing for marketing because it put more eyes on it, whether it's positive or negative. The numbers don't matter. It's
Mm-hmm.
still eyes on the product. But in in the social sphere that we are now, it's it's not just like, oh, I'm angry about this, I'm gonna talk shit on Twitter. Like, no, it's, I'm gonna go burn down a gay bar now because
Yeah.
you tricked me into watching gay people,
Yeah.
because people are insane now.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I don't know, I don't think that's smart to do that anymore.
No, I don't think so either. But I don't know. I think it kind of fails this film. So hopefully, Mongrel, who's distributing it out here in Canada, will make some adjustments to how this film's marketed, at least in our nation, because I think it's a very interesting and poignant look at how scared everyone was to give in to their true feelings. So I think we need more stories like that, and they need to be celebrated and not hidden. I don't know. I'm not saying that this was done in a malicious intent, but it comes across a little bit wrong. But still a solid film in my opinion. Let's finish it up with, I don't even know how broad this is going to be as a release because it's a very, very tiny film, but I just noticed it from one of my American PR companies, so I requested it. This one's called Call of the Void.
After the death of her brother, Moray tries to escape to a cabin in the woods when her retreat is derailed by a college band and their suspicious professor. They encounter a mysterious hum that once heard there is no return. Starring Caitlin Carver, Mina Sundwall, Richard Ellis, Christian Antidormi, and Ethan Harris. Written and directed by James B. Cox.
I mean, besides Ethan Harris, there's really nobody in this film that I absolutely recognize for anything. And Ethan Harris is within a small film. He was in Nickel Boys. He was one of the main characters in Nickel Boys, which was a film that was nominated for an Academy Award. I brought it to the show probably towards the end of last year. A really, really brilliant film. But I honestly didn't know he was in it when I got it. I got it because I saw some mention towards Stephen King in the write up for it, but it's not based on any Stephen King. This is like an original idea. And
Based on
it,
the idea of Stephen King.
no. He had done a short film before that was based on Stephen King,
Okay.
and I guess I read that wrong because it was in
Okay,
like the
okay, okay.
blurb next to it. And so that was basically the reason I got it. And who doesn't love like a weird, like existential, like deep in
Yeah.
the wilderness type of thriller? And I will say that the film is a cool idea that just doesn't go far enough. It's it has this kind of body snatchers alienness to it, but I don't think it knew how to go any bigger with that. And it also might come down to the fact that it's a very low budget, and it didn't have the ability to go any bigger than it was. That, as much as it fizzles for me, like building and then just kind of plateauing, I will say that the final scene is pretty unsettling and leaves you with that kind of Twilight Zone Outer Limits, like doom notion.
Okay.
That's kind of cool, but I wish there was more to it. I wish that it didn't kind of get crushed a bit under its own momentum. But I think Cox has something going for him, and I think that his next one could be really interesting. And given that the guy is given a solid budget, I think he could actually churn out something interesting. All right, so let's move on to what you can grab on a physical disc right now. That's right. Not only can you grab this on a physical disc, you can also stream it as well. And Chloe will have that detail for you in just a second. But this is another one that's part of the grand old Taylor Sheridan universe within Paramount. This is Lioness Season 2.
CIA operative Jo attempts to balance her personal and professional lives as the tip of the spear in the agency's war on terror. Starring Zoe Saldana, Lesla de Oliveira, Dave Annable, Jill Wagner, LaMonica Garrett, James Jordan, Austin Hebert, Jonah Wharton, Stephanie Nur, Hannah Love Lanier, Nicole Kidman, Morgan Freeman, Thad Luckenbill, Michael Kelly, and Genesis Rodriguez. Created by Taylor Sheridan, also available on Paramount Plus.
So yeah, this is the full military Taylor Sheridan show, the one that he was really really loving to do. I'm glad that they dropped the special ops part of the title. It just felt so clunky. Just call it Lioness. I enjoyed season 2. I am enjoying season 2 much more than in season 1. I feel like the establishment of the characters and everything just it was just a little slow for me, and I didn't really care a lot about Joe's home life. But now the season 2 is way more operational heavy and much more interesting. Your central lioness in this one now is Genesis Rodriguez, who I've always enjoyed as an actress. Of course, she's a Kevin Smith alumni, so I like everyone that's kind of worked with him. And yeah, as part of just the over saturation of Taylor Sheridan within Paramount Plus, this show still kind of works. And Nicole Kidman's actually kind of badass in her bureaucratic way in this one. But I almost feel like it's just Morgan Freeman's job is sitting in a chair the whole time. Like I feel like every time he's just sitting in a chair delivering dialogue. So that's kind of funny. But I'm enjoying it so far. I will bring it to the final segment of now that it's over when I'm done. But so far so good, and I'm happy that it got sent to me. It got sent to me on DVD, but I'm pretty sure this is available on Blu-ray as well. All right, let's move to what you can stream right now. That's right, the streaming pile. I'm going to kick it off with a documentary, but this isn't one to give you the facts and make you feel bad about it. This one makes you feel really, really good, maybe a little too good. This one is Pets.
It explores the extraordinary relationship between animals and their people around the world, highlighting dogs, cats, pigs, goats, and birds of prey. Pets takes us on a lovely journey that celebrates love, loss, and licks along the way. Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, available on Disney Plus.
So this is like a shotgun blast of serotonin, like to the face. You're either going to it's going to hit you in one of two ways: the smile, or in my wife's case, the explosion of tears and overwhelming happiness to the point where they can't even process anything anymore. I've honestly never seen anything like it in my entire life before. It was like a complete and it was just like a complete blowout of all the synapses except for adorableness and happiness and just overwhelmedness. It was crazy. But it is a beautiful film. Bryce Dallas Howard does a really, really great job. You have a bunch of talking heads talking about pets, and they're all kids and they're all adorable, of course. They have some really beautiful stories of people's love towards pets. I mean, one guy started a cat sanctuary, and he's kind of known as the Cat King. And
Tiger King?
not Tiger King, not Tiger King's not in jail or anything. There's a family that they do like prosthetics and stuff for animals that are missing limbs and everything. There's just like a lot of beauty to this film, and sure, it's manipulative, but it's manipulative the whole time. I think within the first few minutes that you put this film on that it's going to draw the tears out of you like a vacuum. Like it is some intensity to it. But I really, really loved it. And it goes for exactly what it achieves. And that is that boost of happiness that you need. And it feels like Disney Plus is full of a lot of documentaries like this. So it kind of nestles it into a really sweet spot on that streaming service. So definitely worth checking out and worth watching with the family for sure. And we teased this one last week, but it is back. Everyone's been waiting for it, and it is Canadian shot as well. This season is BC shot, but this is The Last of Us season 2.
After a global pandemic destroys civilization, a hardened survivor takes charge of a 14-year-old girl who may be humanity's last hope. Starring Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, Gabriel Luna, Isabella Merced, and Young Mazzino. Created by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, based on the video game by Naughty Dog. Available on Crave. Yeah. Starting off really strong with the first episode of season 2. Catherine O'Hara is great in it. She plays Gail, who's like the community therapist
Okay.
for Jackson, which is the settlement that we start off in the second game. I don't recall her being an actual character in the game, but she's a good addition for Pedro's character development, so we can flesh that out a bit more. Because in the game, it's kind of like you start, you go on a run, you do some practice shooting, and then Joel gets his head beat in. Like that's the progression, but we're getting more in the show, which I thought we would. Obviously, they need to flesh it out more. They can't just kill him in the first episode. I'd say that's a spoiler, but it's based on a game.
I'm not going to call it a spoiler. I mean, we're also going to bring the show back once the season's over.
Yeah.
I think a little bit after the season's over to give people a cushion time, but we will be bringing it back. So,
I mean, if you've played the game, you know how this is going to play out. I mean, they're following they're following the formula quite closely. Like, yes, they have been adding in other things, but the progression is still the same. I don't know if that's going to change later on in season 2, but so far it's been pretty straightforward.
Right.
And I really appreciate that, and I do hope that they keep with that. It's funny that they're acting like Ellie is 19 now and not a 14-year-old when she looks exactly the same. Like Bella looks exactly the same as she did in season 1. She's the exact same height because can't really change it that much. But I don't know. That's just funny to me. I do like the casting. I'm not sure. I guess it's Isabella Merced who's Dina.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that casting is really good.
You like the Bella Ramsey casting too, though, right?
I do. Yeah. I was iffy at first, but after seeing her in season 1, I warmed up to it and I was like, okay, they definitely were going for more of a feel of Ellie than the
Mhm,
look of
mhm,
Ellie.
mhm.
And that's the same with Pedro. I mean, Joel wasn't a Chilean man. Uh,
Yeah.
but I still do think that that works. And I also think that the casting for Tommy, Joel's brother, was done really well as well.
Mhm, mhm.
They look like they could actually be brothers. That's a big problem that I have a lot of the time with sibling or familial casting is like these people are not related in the slightest. Like you can't even pretend that they are.
Yeah, yeah.
But it works really well in this one. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see where the show takes part 2.
Nice. Nice, cool. And like I said, we will be bringing that one back to the podcast a little bit once it's over. Just like Daredevil Born Again, which is over now, so I'll give it a little time to rest in its place for a bit before I bring it. But I finished that one literally when Disney gave me the screeners, so I've been sitting on it for a while. Speaking of one that I've been sitting on all of the episodes, I'm just going to bring the first part of it here. This is the next piece in the Star Wars story. This is probably the best part of the TV Star Wars. This is Andor season 2.
In an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue, Cassian Andor embarks on a path that is destined to turn him into a rebel hero. Starring Diego Luna, Kyle Soller, Adria Arjona, Stellan Skarsgård, Fiona Shaw, Genevieve O'Reilly, Denise Gow, Faye Marsay, Varada Sethu, and Elizabeth Dulau. Created by Tony Gilroy, available on Disney Plus.
And Andor season 1 was like the best that of Star Wars in television form. I also believe it's a show that can be watched even if you're not a Star Wars fan. Like it just operates in like a different vein of television storytelling. It is a story of the building of a resistance at its heart, and Andor season 2 is them getting into the grittier part. And there's honestly an episode in season 2 that was like the red wedding of this series. I was blown away that they would actually go to the heights that they did, and it was just jaw dropping. I was just so in awe by this show that they could continue this incredible storytelling that felt like lightning in a bottle in season 1. And my anticipation for season 3 is just off the chart. I can't wait to break this one down in full when I bring it back to the show. Diego Luna is awesome in the show. I absolutely love him. But Adriana Arjona, I think, should get a lot of recognition for this season, especially with everything that emotionally that her character goes through. I think it's just a really well told story. And Kyle Soller, I think, will get a lot more attention after this series. And just a very unique looking actor as well. There's something very mousy but very stern about him that I find very interesting. But yeah, just like Last of Us, it's another show that I'm excited to bring more of a spoiler filled wrap up to. So that will eventually happen. But we're about to get out of here. I got a taste of next week, a few different things from next week to talk about. But do you have anything that you wanted to butt in about?
There is a but. Yeah, Minecraft movie.
Oh,
I did check it out. I took my kids. I spent $90 for us to see the Screen X, so it's in the front and on the sides. Was not worth the money, but that was the only theater that we could get into. Like, because the rest of them were just packed. Like, it's
yeah.
just absolutely packed. Um, but yeah, it was only like us and like two other families in that screening, so that was kind of nice, I guess. Because I was worried about teenagers being stupid and
The chicken jockey stuff.
yeah, just this stupid bullshit. And when we were in line, like waiting to get like our popcorn and stuff, there was a group of teenagers behind us. They were like, "Oh man, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do the chicken jockey thing. We should have brought like some shit. I don't remember what they said. Like they said that they should have brought something from home to throw, and I was like, oh my god. But
These
yeah,
poor theater workers.
I know these poor other teenagers. Like
Yeah.
it's teenager on teenager violence. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the movie. Like I was chuckling like from start to finish. Like, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting more like, oh god, like just cringe, like corporate, like taking something from a community and making it corporate, making it marketable, making it palatable for a wider audience. But it didn't really do that. It was still very much directed towards Minecraft players, and not just children, but older people as well, because Minecraft has been around, I want to say, since like 2010, maybe a little before that. And that was in like early stages. I didn't start playing until I was about 12, so 2012.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's still very enjoyable for everybody, I want to say. You don't even have to have that much knowledge of Minecraft because they explain a lot of things, but not in a way that's like annoying. I came around to Jack Black being Steve. I still don't fully understand the decision, but it ended up working out, so I guess it's fine. The Jennifer Coolidge villager bits are actually my favorite bits in the film. I
her
just want the
line her line about like I'm a garbage can, but look out, I'm full of raccoons or something like that. It was like the craziest line. It just hilarious. It was like she was on her own script.
and then in the and like the post credit scenes when the villager turns out to be Matt Berry, I was like, I literally yelled out, "Oh my god, it's Matt Berry!" Like I just yelled out in the theater.
Just perfect.
Yeah, just amazing. And I just love Jennifer Coolidge as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she was doing. I don't know how she got put into this movie, but I'm glad she did. And she wasn't
Yeah.
even like part of it. She was just like, this is
So
also
side
happening, by
quest.
the
Yeah,
way.
so side
Yeah,
quest.
but it's awesome. And Jason Momoa was good in this as Garrett, the garbage man.
Yeah. I love Jason
Yeah,
Momoa, and he's so much fun.
yeah.
Consistently so much fun in that movie.
And his character does end up explaining like why he dresses the way he does, because I remember initially seeing the trailer and being like, why the hell does Jason Momoa look like that? Like what the hell is going on? But no, it's because he's so stuck in
Yeah.
1989.
Yeah.
And that's why this is his entire vibe. This is his entire
Exactly. The
personality.
T-top, Trans Am, everything
Yeah,
about him is 1989.
yeah,
Yeah. It's solid. It's way more solid than I ever would have given it credit for sure.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right, so now that we're back after a week of vacation, we're gonna get things back to normal. What am I talking about next week? That's right, a taste of next week. It's some fun stuff. Until Dawn, which we've already mentioned this week on this week's episode. Will Rami Malek make an appearance? I will know for sure, because that's for sure what I'm seeing this week. I'm also going to be checking out The Accountant 2. But one of the other movies I'm going to be bringing is a film that played VIFF, but we didn't get to check it out. But I finally did get to check it out, actually today, just before we recorded. But I haven't really sorted out my thoughts on it. But it's a film called Bonjour Tristesse, which kind of had mixed reviews coming out of VIFF, but it's something I'm going to be talking about next week. But until then, you can find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at The Steeble Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Honeybun Chloe.
You can find all of our episodes on stevestebbing.ca or on the YouTube page. Just look up Steve Stebbing or The Steeple Dead. And we're also on shiftheads.ca. You can also hear me every week on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift, found on Toronto's News Talk 1010 on the iHeart Radio Network. And that empties out our huge list for this week. So until next week, bye-bye.